excuses. But in context, the Electoral Commission, in a way, also has an element of responsibility. Because following the Justice Mlegonje ruling, definitive ruling in 2020, the Electoral Commission continued to recognize Jimmy Akena and maybe possibly played a spoiled child game in there. So that I faulted them to an extent.
No. Justice Mlegonje, yes, was definitive in his, I mean, in her ruling, yes, that even in as much as court had quashed Jimmy Akena's presidency in 2015, yes, he went ahead to serve, and therefore he served 2015 to 2021. Thereabout, the 2 terms had ended. But there is also currently another objection to Jimmy Akena's need for a 3rd term. How did you expect that the Electoral Commission would go ahead when there is a pending court case which is not yet, dealt with?
That's why I told you that the Electoral Commission was massively impressive, definitive, and fairly detailed as far as this current ruling is concerned. But I'm saying it's not clean because it disregarded the Mlegonje ruling of 2020. In any case, by allowing and recognizing
because there was a new
case to continue. No, in a way, Mlegonje asked for fresh elections, ordered for fresh elections, in fact, and that fresh elections is the election in which I come in. So I came in 2020, I was not part of this, participated in the election in which Akena didn't participate. Walubiri, Dixon Opul, and Dan Okello participated. I won those elections. It was fudged, typically, and that's how I've ended up in court. But from the perspective of the decision of the Electoral Commission in their letter on Monday, they had no option but to decline, unfortunately, Jim Akena's nomination, and two, most importantly, also Dennis Enap's nomination. Dennis Enap emerged out of the illegality of Jim Akena, challenged Jim Akena, quite rightly got an order sort of in his favor, but not ordering that or stating that he's president, but simply that he was right to challenge the fact that Jimmy had served 2 terms and he was not eligible. So it's a bit of confusing stuff, legal stuff. So from that perspective, they did. And in any case, the commission had a series of court rulings before them, including a recent interim injunction against Jimmy by my team and a pending order of contempt of court. But let alone the fact that the original order, the original application that I made, one, asking for declaration that I'm president, that is in 2021 March, which is pending in court, but also a permanent injunction against Jimmy, which is still pending. So the Electoral Commission couldn't go ahead with it. On that, I fault the too much heavy work of the judicial process, meaning the judiciary. So had these matters been disposed of in 2021, 2022, we wouldn't be here. And in fact, even the earlier one from 2015-16, from 2016, the appeal that took Mlegonje to September 2020, you could argue, had it been disposed of in 2016, 2017, we wouldn't have been here. I am saying that in a way, whereas these are internal UPC matters, systems and structures and institutions are some of the delays and possibly manipulations by other players and forces cannot be dismissed, so, which is really very unfortunate for a democratic process. But final thing I said, I told the Electoral Commission on Sunday that if the 1980 general elections, the first election I participated in as a young 18-year-old, and the 1980 general election, which was possibly the last free, fair, open, democratic election that took a president to State House, and if that's the election that also took some people to the bush, allegedly for rigged elections, it puts the Electoral Commission on the spotlight. So it's absolutely their responsibility to make sure that they do the best, the right thing, and are seen to be doing the right thing. So as of Monday, they did fine, as far as I'm concerned. And in fact, as of Tuesday and Wednesday, the process of nominations, looking at what happened the other time, they pass. I really hope that from that, they can build on these and make sure that together with the other political parties and political players, and particularly young people in this country, that we see an election campaign based on issues, peaceful, and one in which, whatever the outcome of the elections, citizens of this country can have a confidence in whoever emerges as leader, as having had the mandate of the people, and the Electoral Commission, body mandated to do the things, does its job.
Well, we will get deeper into that conversation. Andrew, in your own view, looking at all the processes so far that the Electoral Commission has taken, we started with the launch of the electoral roadmap much earlier than had been anticipated, to now where we can say the first step is done. The nomination of presidential candidates and campaigns will be setting in. Do you think it has passed the test, and what measures would you be able to use in that?
Thank you, Mildred. I think the Electoral Commission has passed the test.
Okay.
To those that have been following the politics before, this one was more clear and elaborate. The only issue comes in that most of the people did not prepare. This is like an exam, and you must prepare for it. We have seen UNEB prepare the learners. We have seen PLE exam set, and there is always a deadline.
Yeah.
So in circumstances where the EC puts it clear that the deadline is stipulated by the law, the days are 2, the time is actually mentioned as well, and you fail to beat the deadline, you fail to meet the criteria required, it does not give you a safe haven. So to the majority that failed to pass the test, it was their own failure to prepare. EC did its role, did its mandate, and I think they passed the test.
Okay. What yardsticks would you be able to use in that regard, especially with the determination of processes that Electoral Commission has taken and how they've handled the different political parties and aspirants?
Unlike the previous ones, where we have seen a lot of disparities, we have seen a lot of actually tear gas. This time, Electoral Commission did better than usual. They had set out clear guidelines, and we did not see too much of the chaos we have seen before, which we could attribute to the ruling government, leaning so much close to the ruling government. This time round, they set their guidelines, and I think even the police did a great job in the context of ensuring that these different candidates find their event a bit adducible than the usual one.
All right, thank you very much, Andrew. Mr. Cheno, let's get now to the real task ahead for the Electoral Commission, because that's where the test of the pudding comes in, that we are done. We're sending out the candidates. For now, it is the presidential candidates. And we've had instances where, even with the last election, instances where the candidates are complaining that the Electoral Commission is not coming through, they're being brutalized by the police, and Electoral Commission is standing aloof. What is the real task ahead that after the election probably we'll also be asking the same question, whether Electoral Commission has passed the test, and probably the answer may end up different depending?
I had a courteous call to the chairman of the Electoral Commission, and I had a conversation with him quite some time ago, courteously, and had conversations with him about matters of perception or public opinion. And he gave me good time. I hope that as a matter of lesson for them, that they've learned from the past and that they're able to do the best of what they said, as I said, to ensure that some of the issues that happened before do not happen. But let me tell you that before I delve into that, I have been very concerned that procedurally, although we are praising the processes, many candidates pick nomination forms. My view still is that that should still remain, because some people are saying that maybe we should begin by restricting. I think we shouldn't. Maybe we should ask for fees. I think we shouldn't. I think it should be left like that. The criteria of signatories is something that I think needs to be reviewed.
100 for at least 2/3 majority of the...
Yes, because when the Constitution was set and designed, we had only about 40 districts. I think for presidential candidates who are preparing, this can be a distraction. But for people who are sufficiently organized like UPC in normal times, it's not a problem. I'm just trying to talk strategically and broadly, and I'll tell you why. Once then you return these forms, I experienced it with Mama Miriam. These businesses where the commission tells you that you've not met the threshold in 30 districts and they can't qualify it, and you're not a party and your people are not there verifying why these things have been declined, the involvement of what process and agencies they use. I think I need to bring this at the onset, because these are important reviews looking forward if we want to go and get a fair electoral process. I have also had, I don't have much evidence, I have heard that some candidates, or certainly a candidate, and a female candidate as such, was asked to facilitate a process in which it gets a guarantee that her nomination papers did not have problems. I got very concerned, and I'm saying it on television deliberately.
Because she was asked to facilitate? Is that, in essence, asked for a bribe?
Sort of, yes. I need to be able to qualify that, but I'm reasonably confident because I got this from the candidate herself. But then number two, we have 8 candidates, and there is no woman. From